everyone, it's Mio, and today I'm going to do a crochet tutorial. I know you guys have been asking me for a while if I could do a crochet tutorial, and today I'm going to show you how to make this really cute Instagram icon crochet bag. This was Instagram's original icon and I absolutely love it. I think it's a kickback to being old school, and I really love this bag in particular. Although it's not an original idea, I actually got these ideas off of Google, and I'll provide the link below to the picture that actually inspired me to create this. And as you can see here, you can make different colorations of it, and it makes a really cute purse. And if you're waiting for a last minute gift to give someone for the holiday season, I think this purse would be a really cute gift. And you can put pictures of your friends or your families to remind them of your most favorite moments with them. In the interest of time, I did my best to simplify this tutorial, so it's not the most thorough video tutorial ever, but bear with me. And for more videos like these, please subscribe and give me a thumbs up if you haven't already, and do check out my other social media websites such as Instagram and Twitter for pictures and previews of tutorials to come. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. You're going to start off with a light tan colored piece of yarn and a crochet needle. This one here I think is a 2.75 needle, but it really doesn't matter what size needle as long as it's an appropriate size for the type of yarn you're using. I usually buy the cheapest yarn, I don't have anything special, and what I do is I cross a loop over the needle, take the needle underneath the yarn, pull through the loop, take the needle underneath the yarn and pull through that loop I just created. And when I let go of the yarn and just gently tighten the yarn around the needle, you'll see I created my first chain. So I'm just going to repeat this process, place the needle underneath the yarn and pull through the loop. And as you can see, I form what they call a simple chain, but it looks like a tiny little braid in my opinion. And you're going to make this as long as how wide you want the Instagram video icon to be. So mine is about 4 or 5 inches. And once you're happy with it, you're going to place the needle through your second loop you created, pull some yarn through the second loop, and you'll see 2 yarns on your needle. Take some yarn and pull through those 2 loops, and you've created your first knot. So let me do this again. I'm going to go to the next chain. I'm going to put my needle through it, grab some yarn, pull through that loop, and you'll see 2 loops on my needle. Pull some yarn and pull through those 2 loops, and I created my second knot. So I'm going to go down to the next one, again put my needle through the third one, pull some yarn through, and you'll see 2 loops on my needle. Take some yarn and pull through those 2 loops, and this is my third knot. Now I'm going to go repeat this process pretty much down the entire chain, and it's going to be about 4 or 5 inches long because that's how big I want my purse to be. So this is what it looks like when I completed the first row. The first row actually happens to be the bottom of the purse, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to form the exact same knots all around the perimeter of the first row I created. There will be no expansion, so for each knot you're going to do 1 knot. If you expand it, it won't look like a square, so make sure you do 1 to 1. The only places you will expand is maybe the edges, so where I'm currently at, you can maybe add 2-3 knots per knot, just on the very first row that you're creating. So I'm just going to go ahead and crochet along the perimeter of this, again with the exact same knot, and you'll notice with time as you add more and more rows to this, it'll start to look like a square purse forming. When you complete the first row around the perimeter, you'll notice that it still looks kind of flat, but over time if you continue to crochet more and more rows, it'll start to fold inward and form what looks like the bottom of the purse. So as you can see here, it still looks flat, but as I kind of push up the edges, you can kind of see where the first row that you created forms the bottom of the purse, and then the first row that you made around the perimeter starts to form the edges. So for the interest of time, this is what it looks like as you continue to crochet upward. As you can see, mine is actually wider than it is tall because the top part's going to have brown yarn. So I'm going to cut off the extra yarn, and I'm going to tie on the brown yarn to form the top part of the purse. And it's okay to unravel it a little bit and make sure you're going to tie it exactly where you first ended. So I only made the knot 1 inch long, and continue to crochet away the exact same way you were doing earlier. And as you can see, as I am almost done with the light brown color, the brown color comes in very seamlessly as if the yarn was one long piece of string. As you can see, I'm already forming the icon of the Instagram character, but I really want this to be more three-dimensional. So I'm going to continue to crochet more rows of this dark brown color, even though where it is right now, I'm already ready to finish, because what I'm eventually going to do is I'm going to flip this over. So now that I'm done, this is how long that the brown piece is. I'm going to complete it by pulling the string through the knot, and I'm going to flip this over, and it looks like the top part is thicker than the bottom, which is exactly what I want. I want it to look a little more three-dimensional. So the base part of my purse is all complete, and now I'm going to add on the accessories to make it really look like an Instagram character. So with some black yarn, I'm going to form the lens of the camera. I'm just going to start off the same way I did earlier, but this time I'm going to form a circle. So once I have my first chain on my needle, I'm going to pull one string through to form a simple chain. I'm going to put my needle through the very first loop I created and create the simple knots I've been doing all this tutorial. So I'm going to put my needle through the first hole, pull some string through. I'll have 2 knots on the needle, pull some string through both of those circles to form a simple knot. And I'm going to keep going through the exact same hole, and the more knots you put on it, it will fan out and form a really small circle. You want to make sure there's at least 5 to 6 knots in this tiny little circle. And once you're ready to complete the circle, you're just going to put your needle through the very first knot you created, like so. Take some yarn and pull through both the loops, and you completed your first ring. And now you're going to expand it. So you're just going to do the exact same thing. Just put your needle through the first knot you created, make a simple knot, and then instead of going on to the next one, you're just going to put your needle through the exact same knot you did earlier and put 2 knots per one. So you're going to expand it just a little bit. So 2 knots for each knot in the first row, and as you'll continue to crochet along, you'll notice it gets larger. And you're going to form a lot of rings, so I would say figure out how big your purse is going to be and make sure that the ring you created is small enough to fit in your little Instagram purse space that you created earlier. So this is how big my ring is. I know it's just a little bit smaller than I want, but that's okay because I'm going to form the rim. I'm using white yarn here, but I actually ended up using the exact same base color yarn in the very end. So what I did is cut off the extra yarn, tied in some white yarn, and I'm going to form another ring around this black yarn, but it's going to be a little bit different as to where I start this. So let me finish off the black yarn here, and once I start introducing the white yarn, I am actually going to crochet it on part of the ring that you usually put your needle through. So normally when you put your needle through the first knot to expand it, you'll notice that you'll have 2 on the needle, but here I only have 1. So as you can see, here's what you normally have 2, but I actually only want to put it through 1, and I want it to be the loop that's closest to me. So there's 2 here. You're just going to take your needle out and just put it through the first one closest to you, and then form the regular knot that you would normally do to expand the ring. So again, I'm going to demonstrate it one more time. Put my needle through, not both of them, but through the first ring that is closest to me, and continue to form a regular knot. So I'm going to do this around the entire perimeter of this camera lens. By doing this, you'll notice that the white part, or the rim that you just created, kind of pops up forward to you, so it has a 3-dimensional look. And so once you completed your first ring, now we're going to form the next ring. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take the back part of the ring. So here are 2, but I don't want both of them. I just want the back part of the braid, the one farthest from you, and then form a regular knot. And I'm going to do this around the entire perimeter of the lens again. So let me do this one more time. I'm going to put my needle on the back part of the braid and form a regular knot, and just do this all over. So this is what the lens cover should look like so far. Now I'm going to form the last ring, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the back part of the braid again and form the entire perimeter. So I'm going to form a simple knot here, and again I'm going to place my needle not through both of them but through the back part, the one that's farthest from you, and go ahead and crochet all around. I know that the lens piece right now doesn't look very interesting and it almost looks kind of flat, But it's very important because this is how you can make a lot of dimension onto your little Instagram character. So as you can see here, when I fold it, it forms edges along the rim, and it really makes the rim part pop out and look really three-dimensional. It makes it look like a really nicer camera. So here is the base part, and here is what my lens looks like on top of the base. For the lens, I wanted to add a nice little glare. It looks like there's light on the actual lens. So I'm just taking some white yarn and I'm going to line the rim around part of the camera lens. So there is no right or wrong way to do this, and if you don't want to do it with your yarn, you can always take some white felt and cut like a little small semicircle and glue it on if you want. But I'm just using some yarn here. I just cut like a piece of yarn that's maybe 2 feet long, and I'm just going to run it through the different pieces of the actual black part of the lens. There's no rhyme or reason as to how I did this. I just wanted to cover a certain amount. If you actually have a needle specifically for yarn, that will probably be much easier than what I'm doing now. I'm just using my crochet needle to help me pull yarn up and down through the lens where I want it. For the upper part of the camera, I'm going to take some felt and I'm going to cut out 1-inch long pieces of colored strips. I'm using primary colors plus green here, and you want it to be about 1 inch long and maybe 1/2 centimeter wide. Just make sure each of your colored strips are pretty good in terms of size and length. Otherwise, if one's thinner or thicker than the other, it doesn't really look very nice. And once you're happy with how they look, place it on your camera and make sure it fits where you want to, and you can hot glue them in. I'm a big fan of hot gluing. I think it's very, very easy. So to finish up my camera, I'm just using my hot glue gun to hot glue all the edges so nothing unravels. I cut off all the extra yarn. As you can see here, I'm just gluing it on the back to make sure it stays in place. And for the actual camera lens, the part that lines the actual lens, I really want it to be very three-dimensional, and to make sure everything holds in place, I'm just hot gluing it all down. Hot gluing the accessory pieces are by far my most favorite part of this tutorial because you can really see that the purse is really coming together and starting to look what looks like the beginnings of a little Instagram icon. So if you don't want to hot glue anything and you really want to tie it on, you absolutely can. It's just that hot gluing is really, really easy. Now the camera actually needs a flash, and instead of using the flash, I'm going to do the exact same thing that the picture I copied has, which is to have a little heart on the side. I think it's really adorable. So with some light pink felt, I'm just cutting out a tiny little heart, and for the back part of it, I just put it on top of a black square, and again, I just hot glue it on the top right hand corner of my Instagram icon. And by this point, you can really tell that your purse is pretty much done. If you want to add on a strap to it, you absolutely can, but if you like it the way it is right now, you can gift it the way it is. If you want a closer look at the actual purse itself, it looks like this on the front, and when you look inside, it has a nice bottom that you created earlier, and you can pretty much store very simple things in here. I recommend storing very light items because this is yarn and it can change its shape if you have very, very heavy items. If you want to create a strap, I'm creating a very, very simple strap using some paper clips. I'm just taking the paper clip and reshaping it into a triangle. I'm just using what the paper clip shape kind of looks like and just bending the wires a little bit, and I just cut off all the extra wire that I don't want. So this is what the paper clip looks like. I'm going to insert it on the side of the purse. I'm just going to open up just a tad bit and insert part of the paper clip through a few of the knots, and then just kind of roll everything in place and reshape it so it closes and it doesn't fall out easily. For my purse in particular, I wanted some brown ribbon, but if you want a different color strap, you can. I made sure that it was at the length that I wanted. I really wanted mine to be a crossbody bag, and all you have to do is take the ribbon, place it through the paper clip holder that you created earlier, and again, I used a hot glue to secure everything, or you can just use a needle and thread and sew everything together. And that, guys, is pretty much how I created this really cute Instagram purse. I think it's really adorable, and you can create different color variations of it. As you can see here, I created a light pastel colored version, and as you can see, for the actual lens glare, I used a piece of felt because it was a lot easier. And I think these make great gifts, and it's a great throwback to what the Instagram icon used to be. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. For more like these, please subscribe and give me a thumbs up if you haven't already, and do check out my social media websites, Twitter and Instagram, to get previews of videos to come. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys very soon. Bye!